What if I told you that you could hold a 6,000-year-old story in your hands? And no, I'm not talking about a book. I'm talking about a single clay pot. Today, we're going to decode the images on this incredible ancient beaker to uncover a tale of life, death, and a huge turning point for all of humanity. All right, let's dive in.
And here it is. This is the Susa beaker. It was found in what we now call Iran, and it's a relic from the very dawn of civilization. I mean, this thing was made 6,000 years ago. So, what's the big deal? What makes this one piece of clay so important, one of the most crucial artifacts of its time? What secrets are hiding in these beautiful painted lines?
Okay, so first up, let's talk about why this is considered such an incredible work of art, a real masterpiece from the dawn of civilization.
So this beaker is what's known as Susa I pottery. You know, it comes from the ancient city of Susa, and this style is famous for its super intricate hand-painted designs. But the story gets really interesting when you find out where it was discovered.
Which brings us to the Susa cemetery mystery. See, this beaker wasn't found in a home or some fancy palace. No, it was discovered at the foot of a temple, in a graveyard.
So, ancient Susa was located right near the Zagros Mountains in modern-day Iran. We're talking way back, around 4200 BCE. The people there built this huge temple on a raised platform, and right there at the base of that holy site, archaeologists found something incredible, a massive cemetery.
And when I say massive, I mean over 1,000 individual graves, all just packed in together. This was not your typical burial ground that grew over centuries. Nope. Something else was going on here.
And this is really the core of the mystery. The evidence suggests that all 1,000 of those graves were dug and filled at pretty much the same time. I mean, that points to a single, huge event, maybe a disaster or a total social collapse that led to a mass burial. And the way they were buried was also really unusual. The people here were given what's called a secondary burial. What does that mean? Well, it means the bodies were left to decompose first, and then their bones were gathered up and buried. Now, this was a pretty common practice back then, but doing over 1,000 of them all at once, that's what makes Susa so wild. Okay, so this brings us back to the pottery itself and what it was for. You might think, oh, these were probably cherished family heirlooms, right? Well, the evidence actually suggests they were made specifically for the grave, not for everyday use at home.
Yeah, the main theory is that this pottery was made as a special funerary set. I mean, you look at the shapes, you've got goblets, plates, little jars. It really looks like a complete dining set, meant for one last meal in the afterlife.
And the evidence for this is pretty strong. For one thing, archaeologists almost never find this fancy pottery where people lived, but they find thousands of pieces in the graves. And the beaker itself, it's huge. It holds almost a gallon, which is way too big for daily use. It's clearly for show, for a ceremony. And get this, unlike their regular everyday pottery, every single one of these funerary pots is completely unique, a one-of-a-kind piece of art.
Okay, so we know the beaker was for a burial, but what about all those paintings on it? They're not just random decorations. They are telling a prehistoric story. So let's decode these animal symbols.
All right, if you look at the artwork, you'll see it's organized in these bands, which we call registers. The very top one has this line of long-necked wading birds, and they're so beautifully stylized. These birds represent the marshy plains around Susa, you know, the local environment, the natural world these people saw every day.
Then, right below the birds, you've got a band of running dogs. And look how lean and long they are. It's thought that these are salukis, a type of hunting dog that's actually still around in that region. So these dogs aren't just part of the scenery. They represent something more, like speed, skill, and that special partnership between humans and domesticated animals. And then, bam! The main event. The central panel is just dominated by this incredible ibex, a wild goat from the nearby Zagros Mountains. Its body is super simple, just a couple of triangles, but its horns, they're enormous, forming this perfect circle. It's an amazing focal point. And this animal, it symbolizes the powerful, untamed wilderness right at the edge of their world.
Now look closely inside those huge horns. See that geometric design? That's not random. That exact same symbol shows up on other pieces of pottery from the same time, like on bowls. This tells us they had a shared visual language. Maybe it was a clan symbol or something like that. But its exact meaning? Well, that's probably lost to time. So when you put it all together, what you're really looking at is a map of their world. You have the wading birds for the local plains. You've got the hunting dogs for the world of humans, skill, domestication, and then you have the mighty ibex, representing that wild, untamed nature of the mountains. So, finally, let's zoom out and see how these symbols give us this incredible window into prehistory. Because this beaker isn't just about the afterlife. It's a record of a whole new way of life, a real turning point for all of humanity. See, the people of Susa were living through a massive revolution. They were using what anthropologists call a mixed subsistence strategy. That's a fancy way of saying they had one foot in the old world and one in the new. They were still hunting wild animals like the ibex, but they were also starting to embrace farming and domesticating animals like those hunting dogs.
And that, right there, is the ultimate story of the Susa beaker. It is a perfect snapshot of this moment of transition. It shows a people who are celebrating both the wild world they came from and this new domesticated world they were just starting to build and control.
There's a great quote from a scholar who calls it an elegant testament to the new lifeways, and that's exactly what it is. It's a picture of people standing right on the edge of a new world, at the very, very beginning of the long history of the ancient Near East. So think about it. A 6,000-year-old pot, found in a mass grave, ends up being this beautiful, detailed record of a human revolution. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What stories are hiding in the things we leave behind? What will people think about us thousands of years from now?